So you sit there, surrounded not just by silence, but by the echo of what used to be. Her absence isn't just a missing presence. It's a space that almost screams. You remember how she used to lean in, hanging on your every word? Now, you're just another memory she doesn't revisit. She's moved on, and somehow, that silence she left behind has a voice of its own. It speaks to you in the quiet moments and shows you something you didn't want to see before, just how much of you was built around her. Most men never realize how deeply their identity is intertwined with the way she loved them until she's gone. And when she leaves, that truth doesn't just whisper, it confronts you. You start to notice what you were leaning on all along. Not strength, not purpose, but her. That's where God steps in. Right there, in the rubble of your dependence. Because he cannot truly form a man whose heart is still shaped by someone else's presence. He can't fill a vessel that's already full of someone who was never meant to stay. You probably ask yourself that haunting question, what did I do wrong? But brother, listen carefully. If your love was honest, and your intentions were pure, and still her heart wandered, then it wasn't a loss. It was your awakening. A divine disruption, a spiritual invitation to rise. She may have walked away, but her absence, it's not a void. It's space God can now occupy. He doesn't compete for your heart. He waits for it to be empty enough to fill. Still, you wonder, why does it hurt this bad if I'm supposed to be better without her? Why does love feel so genuine, so real, even when it's not returned? That ache you feel, that's the flesh. It only understands what it lost. But your spirit, it's already receiving something greater. The path to heaven isn't a painless one. It's not paved with ease or filled with emotional clarity. It's hard. It confuses you. Sometimes your wounds are louder than your faith. And until your spirit matures, those wounds scream over God's whisper. Your own thoughts betray you. Your own judgment fails to see what he's doing. But that's the thing, you were never supposed to understand it all. You're not meant to connect every dot. You are not God. We don't always know who came into our lives wrapped in charm but carried poison. We don't always see who grinned sweetly while slowly draining our purpose. That's why some questions aren't worth answering anymore. The what-ifs, the why-nots, the was I not enough. Those questions must die, because even your own perspective can be flawed. Even your idea of right and wrong can be built on fragile emotion. Lay all of that down at his feet. Understand this surrender isn't giving up. It's not weak. It is the fiercest thing you can do in the face of confusion. It's a war against doubt. When you say, God, I don't get it, but I trust you anyway. That's when you move mountains. That's the faith Jesus walked in. That's the kind of trust that breaks chains. You've got to believe that maybe, just maybe, this heartbreak isn't punishment. It's mercy. God's mercy doesn't always look like protection. Sometimes it looks like removal. And maybe this is the moment he pulled you out of something that would have destroyed your soul later. If you're mad at him, if you think he's cruel, remember this, angels, beings who have existed far longer than we can imagine, still look up to God in awe. But we, men who've only breathed for a few decades, we think we know better? We're not wiser than the one who formed us. Without him, we're just chaos wrapped in skin. Look at the world, how it burns with men driven by lust, by hunger, by rage. Look at the destruction. Look at the broken families, the numb hearts, the restless minds. All of it man's doing, not God's. Everything we attach to the love, the passion, the intimacy, all of it is born of the flesh. But when you walk with God, you begin to see how every one of those desires bows before the Spirit. Because nothing that's born of flesh can compete with what's born of Him. Yes, I know it's easier said than done. Pain doesn't leave just because you read a verse. The flesh grieves what it once held. Your heart will reach out for what it used to find comfort in. That's part of being human. But even in that struggle, even in the long nights and hollow mornings, the Spirit is working. He's doing what only He can do. Replacing false comforts with eternal truth. Replacing confusion with clarity. Replacing pain with purpose. Because the real lesson here was never about her. It was never just about the relationship. It's about you, who you become without her, who you become when she's not around to validate you. Let this be the moment you say yes to that spiritual invitation. Let God take the pieces and build something new. Her absence? That's not a curse, it's a call. A call to refocus your love, your energy, your longing not on her, but on Him. He's clearing the noise so you can hear His voice again. All the chaos, all the confusion, it's being removed, so His message can come through crystal clear. And what is that message? My son, who will you become now? This is the fork in the road for every man. Some go looking for a replacement, someone else to fill the silence. Others, they go looking for God, and those are the ones who rise. So, what about you? If you choose to run to the Father, then brother, you haven't lost a thing. You've gained everything. Pick up your cross. Don't waste this pain. Let it lead you deeper into the arms of the only one who truly knows how to heal you. This heartbreak, it's your invitation into something eternal. Let Him rebuild you. Let Him restore you. Let Him remind you of who you are not, through the eyes of a woman, but through the eyes of a king. You see, God will often use what breaks you to rebuild you. He doesn't waste heartbreak. He repurposes it. And when everything you've clung to is stripped away, when you're standing there with nothing but your bare soul, He finally has the room to do His greatest work in you. That's where transformation begins. Not when you're full, but when you're emptied. And if her absence is what emptied you, then maybe that's exactly what needed to happen. Because there are things God can only teach you in isolation. There's a kind of wisdom that only grows in silence. And there's a version of you that can only be born in the fire of this loss. This isn't the end of your story. It's the start of the real one. Men often measure strength by how quickly they move on, how easily they appear untouched. But true strength? It's not in pretending you're fine. It's in facing the pain with open eyes and an open heart. It's in letting God sit with you in your brokenness and not rushing Him to clean it up. The world tells you to man up, to distract yourself, to numb it, replace her, forget her. But what if you didn't? What if you let this pain do its full work in you? Pain doesn't always come to crush you. Sometimes it comes to expose you, to show you what's been hiding beneath the surface. You may have thought you were strong, but maybe you were just distracted. Maybe her love was your shield. Maybe her presence covered up your spiritual wounds. But now, in her absence, you finally see what's really there. And that's a gift, not a curse. God never reveals what He won't heal. If He's showing you your dependency, it's because He wants to deliver you from it. If He's showing you your weakness, it's because He wants to replace it with His strength. But that exchange only happens when you stop pretending and start surrendering. You don't need a new woman to feel whole again. You need a new revelation, a deeper relationship with the one who never left you, the one who doesn't base His love on your performance or your past. God isn't asking you to forget her. He's asking you to remember Him. And maybe that's the point. Maybe He's been patiently waiting for your heart to be still enough to hear Him. All this time, He's been whispering truth, but your life was too loud. Now that she's gone, the noise has died down. And what's left? Just you and God. This is the space where purpose is born. Not in the applause, not in the affection, but in the silence. That's where David was formed. In the fields, not the palace. Alone, not adored. This is where God refines his warriors. In private, in pain. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. It might not feel like it. It might feel like rejection. But what if this is actually redirection? What if God's pulling you away from the counterfeit so he can give you the real? Not just in relationships, but in identity, in calling, in destiny. Too many men build their worth on being needed, on being loved by someone else. But the moment she walks away, their whole sense of self crumbles. That's because they never built on solid ground. They built on sand. But God is a rock. He's not shaken by who leaves. He's not changed by who stays. And he's inviting you to build your identity on him unshakable, immovable, eternal. Don't settle for temporary comfort when eternal purpose is calling you. Your healing isn't in the arms of a rebound, it's in the arms of your Redeemer. He's not going to just numb your pain. He's going to give it meaning. And that's something no woman could ever do. That's something only your Creator can. You see, the enemy would love for you to believe that this heartbreak is the end of you, that this pain is permanent, that you'll never feel whole again. But he's a liar. He always has been. And if you listen closely, you'll hear the Spirit speaking louder than the lies. You are not defined by who left. You are defined by who stays. And God, he's not going anywhere. Let that sink in. The very God who created galaxies still chooses to dwell in you, even when you're broken, even when you're angry, even when you don't understand. He's not waiting for you to get it all together. He's just waiting for you to turn to him. That's all he's ever wanted. Your heart, not your perfection. And yes, the enemy will tempt you to numb the pain, to go back to the things that used to distract you, to find comfort in old habits, old sins, old escapes. But don't take the bait. You've come too far. You've seen too much. There's nothing back there for you. Nothing worth forfeiting the future God is preparing. This is the war between the flesh and the spirit. The flesh says, just fix the feeling. The spirit says, let God fix the foundation. Which one will you choose? Don't let a temporary emotion create a permanent detour. You're not lost, you're being led. And sometimes, being led by God feels a lot like being left alone. But don't mistake silence for absence. He's closer than you think. Even now, especially now. Let this pain purify you. Let it peel away everything that was never meant to stay. Because when all is stripped away, what remains is what's real, and what's real is him. You may have loved her with everything in you. You may have dreamed of a future together. But if she walked away, and God allowed it, then trust this. He's not subtracting. He's positioning. He's removing what you couldn't, so he can give you what you wouldn't have asked for but desperately need. Don't chase shadows when the light is calling you forward. Stand in the fire. Let it refine you. Let it burn off the false identities, the misplaced affections, the broken dependencies. Let the fire do its work. Because when it's done, what will be left is gold. A man who no longer depends on someone else to define him. A man who stands not in the strength of another's love, but in the unshakable love of God. That's who you're becoming. A man reborn not in romance, but in reverence. Not in longing, but in lordship. Not in loss, but in love. God's love. And the world doesn't need more men who look healed on the outside. It needs more men who are whole on the inside. Men who've walked through the fire and came out refined. Not bitter, not broken, but blessed. You have a choice: to collapse under the weight of what was, or to rise into the man God is forming through this very pain. This moment could define you. Not the heartbreak, but your response to it. Don't waste your suffering. Don't rush your healing. Let it take its time. Let it change you. Let it lead you deeper into God. This isn't just about moving on. It's about moving forward toward something higher, toward someone greater, toward the one who writes better stories than we could ever imagine. Let her go. Not with bitterness, but with blessing. Not because she wasn't valuable, but because God has something even more valuable for you. Clarity, identity, destiny. And that starts now with surrender. So what now? What does a man do when the dust settles, and all that remains is the echo of what used to be? He builds, but not on her love, not on memories, not on emotion. He builds on the cornerstone that will never crack. He plants his feet on truth, and that truth is Jesus Christ. This is where the spiritual war intensifies, not in her leaving, but in your choosing. Will you choose bitterness, or will you choose becoming? Will you sit in the rubble, mourning what was, or will you rise and let God show you what could be? You see, God is not in the business of giving you back what you lost just to soothe your ego. He's in the business of giving you what your soul needs, what your purpose requires. And sometimes, that means withholding what you wanted so He can deliver what you were made for. Every godly man has walked through this valley. David knew rejection. Joseph knew betrayal. Paul knew loneliness. Jesus himself was abandoned by those he loved most. But none of them stayed broken, because they knew something most men forget. Rejection is often God's redirection. So if you're standing here today, broken-hearted but breathing, know this: you're not disqualified. You're being prepared. You're being stripped of everything false, so you can walk boldly in what's true. God doesn't just want to heal your heart, He wants to anchor it. So ask yourself, what did I worship? Was it her smile? Her validation? Her love? If your identity was buried in her acceptance, then her absence was necessary for your resurrection. And this resurrection doesn't end with healing, it leads to holiness. This is the path of the chosen. It's not easy. It's not glamorous. But it's real. And it's eternal. Stop rehearsing the past. Stop replaying conversations. The closure you're looking for isn't in her word, sits in His word. The healing isn't in her explanation, it's in His presence. You don't need her to admit her fault. You need to admit your need for God. Let Him rewrite your story. Let Him use every tear, every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer. Let Him make it holy. Because when a man stops chasing what left and starts chasing the one who stays, everything changes. That's when you stop being a boy searching for affection and become a man shaped by conviction. That's when peace replaces panic, purpose replaces pain, power replaces passivity. The world will try to lure you back into lust, into distraction, into compromise. But you've tasted something better now. You've seen what it's like to be refined by the Spirit. Don't go back to what broke you. Let this season finish its work. Let it kill off every false hope and resurrect your true calling. This isn't about recovering your old self. It's about discovering your real self, the man you were meant to be before the heartbreak, before the sin, before the world told you who you should be. God is not just fixing you, He's forming you. So build with Him. Build slowly. Build intentionally. Let prayer become your foundation. Let obedience be your rhythm. Let the Word shape your steps. And when the time is right, if it's His will, He will bring someone into your life who doesn't distract you from him but draws you closer. Someone who sees the battle scars and honors the warrior. Someone who won't run when life gets hard, because she'll be walking with God too. But until then, search for her. Search for him. Because when you find him, you'll have everything you need. With or without her. You're not missing anything. You're being made into something. So stay planted. Stay faithful. Keep praying when it's hard. Keep praising when it hurts. Keep pressing in when the world pulls out. You're not walking in circles. You're walking in preparation. The time is coming where all this pain will make sense. You'll look back on this heartbreak and thank God it happened, because without it, you wouldn't have become who you are now. You'll realize she didn't ruin you. She revealed you. And now you're free. Not because you've moved on, but because you've moved up. Higher, closer, deeper. You're a man who's been refined by fire. A man who no longer begs for love, but lives from it. A man who no longer fears loss, because he walks with the one who holds all things together. So carry your cross, let her go, and follow Christ. You haven't been abandoned, you've been chosen. And in the hands of God, even your greatest heartbreak becomes holy ground.